creation of our office's first ever housing and tenant protection unit. When I took office as a Manhattan District Attorney, I promised to deliver housing justice by ensuring a dedicated unit focused on prosecuting deceptive and abusive practices by landlords. The creation of this unit is a recognition that safe and affordable housing is a public safety issue. When people experience housing instability, they are pushed to the brink. And that leads to poverty, homelessness, and crime. So housing is a public safety issue, and that's why we're here today with this announcement from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. And we know we've reached a tipping point in the housing crisis. Median rents in Manhattan have reached an all-time high, and there's a lack of affordable housing options, which puts tenants in a vulnerable position, and unscrupulous landlords are looking to take advantage. To counter this, our new unit will take a targeted approach to investigating systemic, structured, and organized criminal activity among landlords and developers. That means prosecution of landlords responsible for continuous patterns of harassment against multiple tenants, in-depth investigations into potential fraud of government programs by landlords and developers, and continued protection of Manhattanites against deed theft and deed fraud. These issues are pervasive. They exist throughout the island, and in particular here in Washington Heights as well, which is why I'm honored to join with so many people from this neighborhood who've been fighting these issues for so long, both in this neighborhood and throughout the island. Some of the specific issues we will be looking at are not foreign to anyone here. Issues like a sustained lack of heat in the wintertime, lead paint, hazardous construction intended to make living impossible. I worked previously on a matter where the landlord took the staircase out, so tenants who lived above the first floor couldn't even get to their apartments. Deliberately withholding repairs, we've all seen that, and oftentimes this is accompanied with by financial and tax fraud. So our targeted strategy makes full use of, or will make full use of additional criminal penalties that were put into place by the legislature in 2020 for harassing rent-regulated tenants, which specifically allowed law enforcement to investigate and prosecute harassment that is part of a systemic, ongoing course of conduct. So that will be a primary focus. Now I want to talk for a moment about the staffing. I'm thrilled to announce today that our unit will be headed by Siga. Yes, please clap. As I know all my partners in government, we're so proud of our career dedicated public servants. We have phenomenal folks in the District Attorney's Office. Siga has served with such distinction in the office for more than a decade. And his work has been within, most recently, the Financial Frauds Bureau. He's handled a variety of prosecutions and long-term investigations that mirror the tools and the skills necessary to do this work. So I'm thrilled about announcing the endeavor, but in particular thrilled about who will lead it, because we know people drive work. We also will have, for the first time, ADAs will be cross-designated specifically to work on these cases, and our first ever housing coordinator, Victoria Grievenberg. So we have almost 500 lawyers in the DA's office, and that's what we're most known for. We don't get any work done without folks like Victoria. So I thank you for saluting her. And we're committed to putting additional resources into this unit. I mean, my hope is that through these partnerships, we'll hear about the conduct that we need to address, and if we need to grow the unit to meet the demand, that's what we will do. And I encourage Manhattanites, either directly or through your representatives, community, or government, to reach out to us if you've been the victim of this type of illegal activity. Our hotline is 212-335-8900. We also have a dedicated email that will be made available. So I'm very, very excited to be here. As you can tell, we'll be working in close coordination with our other law enforcement partners like the Attorney General, the Department of Buildings, and Housing Preservation and Development. And we will refer complaints that do not rise to the criminal level to our partners to make sure everything is being addressed. Public safety is multifaceted. We must take a holistic picture to keeping Manhattanites and our community safe. That's what we're here to do today. So proud, and I want to turn it over to a phenomenal partner on this issue and so many more, my Congress member, Adriano Espaillat.
I want to thank DA Bragg for his leadership in this arena. He's been a leader also in fighting guns out there. He's recuperated more guns, I think, that previous to him, and I think he's doing a good job. Yesterday I met with ATF, and they gave me a breakdown on what's happening with guns, and we need to do more. And of course I carry the Ghost Guns bill in Congress, but the DA has done a tremendous job there, and I'm glad to see that now this initiative is moving forward. Now, the first thing I did when I saw Rodrigo here, who's my good friend from a long time, is I asked him, "How's your backlog?" Because I know that the backlog here sometimes is just impossible, right? And that's because of the need that we have in the community for housing services. So to see the DA take this on, I think it helps people like Rodrigo, and it helps Northern Manhattan Improvement Corporation and Palante Harlem and all the advocates and the Legal Aid Society and all the advocates that are dealing with housing issues. And in neighborhoods like this one, and I dare to say several neighborhoods in my Manhattan part of the district that have been subjected to very controversial rezoning and are currently going through gentrification and feel the pressure of gentrification on a daily basis. These are, Mr. DA, exactly the tactics that are being used by unscrupulous landlords to move people out. You know, they're denying them basic services, heat and hot water. They question their tenancy, and they go ahead and they start a holdover proceeding, right? I'm not a lawyer, but I know about holdover proceedings, right? And of course, you know, they may hike their rents illegally, right? Or they just allow the building, really, the services to collapse. Or they buy them out too. I'm gonna be unabashedly straight. They buy people out because folks may think that with a couple of $1,000 they're gonna resolve their issues, and then they find themselves without the $1,000 and without the apartment. And so there's a good part of this that must be educational, right? To educate the tenants about the perils of being bought out, right? And they do over here in a place like this. They do it around Christmas time because they know a lot of the families want to go back home, and since the airline tickets are now $1,400 and $1,300, you know, you take $10,000, you take your wife and your 2 kids. That's $5,000 right there in airfare. So when you come back, you have no money and you have no apartment, right? And I seen how the cost of housing post-pandemic has shot up dramatically, and this is a real problem for New York City. But this unit will help us fight this on the ground. We can't do this alone. We can't do it just in our district offices. We cannot do it just with Northern Manhattan Improvement Corporation. We have to have the power of the district attorney's office behind us. And so this is an excellent initiative. I'm sure that I will be referring cases to you, Mr. DA. In fact, I have some in mind already. I'm not going to say who they are. Watch out there. I'm going to do this, right? And so, en español, me agrada de que el fiscal Alvin Bragg tome esta iniciativa. Esta es una iniciativa para combatir acciones criminales de los caseros inescrupulosos, como negarle calefacción, como negarle agua caliente, como negarle los servicios básicos a un edificio para que los inquilinos se vean forzados a irse y ellos entonces naturalmente alquilar los apartamentos por una renta mucho más alta en un vecindario como este, que después de la rezonificación va a enfrentar alce de rentas dramático. Por eso tener al fiscal aquí con esta iniciativa es positivo, porque él va a enforzar la ley y asegurar de que los caseros inescrupulosos no violenten la ley, apoyando programas como este del Northern Manhattan Improvement Corporation y otros. Vamos a lograr de que los inquilinos estén mejor protegidos para preservar un vecindario como el nuestro, que es diverso. We must preserve our neighborhoods that are diverse across the district and across the city. The only way to do it is with working with Alvin Bragg to make sure that unscrupulous landlord will feel the weight of the law. Thank you.